Well, hello gorgeous, Mina Irfan here. Today we're talking about feminine energy work and inner work and where to get started on your journey. So let's start by defining what do I mean by inner work. And I think that different people have different definitions of this. So I just want to tell you what my process has been like and how I've done my own inner work, and also share with you some of the things that are included in my inner work program. So first and foremost, what is inner work? Inner work to me is deconstructing your stored emotions, belief systems, and blind spots, your filters. So the way that human babies are, we're a little bit different than other species. Similar, but a little bit different. So when human babies are born, we have certain instincts that are just programmed in us, right? Like we know how to suckle our mother's breast and cry when we have a wet diaper or something like that. But a lot else is actually picked up from the environment. So, and this was necessary so we could adapt to any environment. So a baby born in the deserts could adapt to the desert environment. A baby born in the rainforest could adapt to the rainforest environment. And so this was a really useful tool for us to be able to take in what was the norms of our culture environment. Now, the problem with this is that good and bad. Good is, that our brains from the age of birth to about 6 or 7 years old is literally in a wavelength strength where it's in a hypnotic stance. So this is why, phrases like, oh, he's like a sponge, when we look, say that about a little child, he or she is. Because if you study the brain of someone under 7, 6, 7, they are in a brain wave where they are just absorbing everything. Their brain is on high alert. So they pick up on things that as an adult you may not even register. So if their parent is short with them or doesn't have time for them, or it makes certain comments, they get bullied in school, maybe their teachers say certain things, all of this gets kind of stored in your subconscious as your reality, your experience. So what happens then is that becomes the filter or lens by which you view the world. So for example, if your parents didn't have a lot of time for you when you were little because they were in survival and they were helping provide for you, whatever the reasons were, that got programmed in you as I'm not worthy, abandonment, neglect, whatever your situation was, that's still programmed in you. Add on to that abuse and all kinds of other things, and it gets really crazy quickly. Now, some people think, well, I didn't really go through anything crazy in my childhood, so I probably don't need inner work. And here's how you can tell. If your life experience, the amount of money that you attract, the way that you handle ups and downs in life, the way you process pain and grief and suffering, the way that you relate to people in your life, the way you are at ease, grace, in your life, like how is your life for you? What's your life experience? If everything's great, true, maybe you have absolutely no inner work to do. But most of us have some inner work to do because, if you were lucky enough where you had no abuse or no bullying or none of that, but you were still picking up certain things. And sometimes it's as little as your parents, favoring a sibling a couple times in your childhood, and then a couple comments that your teacher made, that got absorbed in, and you repeated that in your brain and in your processes and in your thinking enough times where if you're 35 now, that little mold has turned into a mountain as far as your subconscious is concerned. So sometimes those little things can really layer on, and depending on, what kind of a person you are now, like how much mind chatter you have, how anxious you are, like you could have turned that into a thing, and that may be the inner work that you need to do. So the best way that I like to describe inner work is it's a deconstruction process. So we're taking you apart based on the clues that your environment is giving you, right? So whatever is going on in the inside is showing up on the outside. So if you have, worthiness issues, if you have confidence issues, you have self-esteem issues, that is showing up as something in your physical reality. So we use that and we, go through that process of deconstructing it, releasing it, and then adding in new things. So one of the things that you need to be careful with is your brain can trick you into thinking that information is inner work. Information is not inner work. So if you have been through something in your childhood, as small as maybe you were told that you didn't have the right skin color, this is something that I experienced a lot in my childhood, or maybe your parents favored your brother because he was a boy over you. Like whatever little things there were, they don't have to be massive things. That trauma is stored in your body. And what happens then is because you don't, your brain is trying to protect you. This is really, really clear in actual trauma victims. You guys know my story. I went through many different instances of childhood sexual abuse. And so in order to protect me, my brain had numbed out my body. It was stored in there, the pain and the trauma, but it had numbed out. The brain thinks it's doing a favor. It doesn't want to take you there because it's too traumatic to go in there and feel the pain, right? And so on the outside, I'm living my life, but there is no access to my body. And yes, it numbed out the pain, but it also numbed out being able to feel joy, being able to feel bliss, being able to receive. So your body is numbed out. Now, if you just take in information and you think that's your inner work, let's say you read some books and you watch some YouTube videos, that's great and it's a great place to start. However, it's almost like asking the computer virus to fix the computer virus. Your brain numbed your body out for a reason because it thinks it's protecting you from going in there and having to feel what really actually happened to you. So it's like telling the brain, hey, by the way, I know that you have numbed me out for a reason, but could you not? Could you please not? So the brain will start distracting you. And I see this a lot in my Sacred Feminine Intensive. A lot of the students that come in there, once we start going into the body and doing the actual practices, they're very quickly distracted, but they'll start asking a whole bunch of questions. They'll start throwing so many questions at you. I mean, I've had students that listed out questions as 1A, 1B, 1C, 2, 1A. What are they doing? Their brain is distracting them, saying, no, we can't go in there yet. Let's just seek out more information. Secondly, you'll see is that they'll keep asking. It's like my husband calls it, they'll start playing Trump the Champ, something like that, he says, where they start looking for holes in what the teacher is saying or the coach is saying versus regardless of if I'm right or wrong. Why can't you go into your body and feel into certain things? Why is your brain preventing you from doing that? What if the answers are all in there, but it's gonna be a little bit messy, it's gonna be a little bit ugly because you're gonna have to go in there and feel out the things that your brain is most terrified of. So that is usually a sign. If you're just taking in more information and you think, if I could just get more information, just need another book, you may have to pause for a second and say, is there something that I'm distracting myself with? If you have trouble sitting alone with yourself for 30 minutes at a time, if you have trouble meditating, these are signs that there's something in there that needs to be released that your brain is really terrified of, and rightfully so. It may really be traumatic. This is where coaches, mentors, therapists, counselors come in really, really handy. I've gone through a lot of mentors and coaches myself because I know that there's blind spots, there's things in myself that my body wasn't ready to go through. I remember one of the coaches I hired, I said to her, oh no, I'm over my sexual trauma stuff. No, we don't have to do that. And she's like, well, if you're over it, then let's just go in there once more. And it was such a life-changing experience to go in there. And so this is why I constantly tell you guys, embodiment is everything. And for embodiment, you have to go into your body. You have to feel out your pain. Another question that I often get asked is, how do I know that my inner work is working? So if you do general inner work, like let's just say the overall, your self-esteem, your trauma, then you should start releasing any anxiety you have. You guys know I used to suffer from anxiety, panic attacks. That went away. You should also start feeling really calm, happy. You should, have self-love for yourself. Your body image issues should start dissolving. Your outside will start reflecting your insides. You'll stop getting triggered. I now get triggered maybe once every couple of years. I'm at that point now through years of inner work. You guys know how much I am into self-development and personal development. I barely every couple of years, and I get excited because now I know, oh, okay, there's still something in there that I'm hitting up against and I need to work through this. That's when you know that your inner work has worked. Now, has it been an easy journey? No, right? I'm suspicious when someone 2 days into their inner work is like, I'm healed now. That's the brain, that's the computer virus saying, I deleted myself, don't worry about it, right? That's kind of shady because you've stored it in there for years and years and years, right? You're not gonna be like healed in 2 days. Now, having said that, I have had sessions both on the end where I'm on the receiving end or the other end where I'm the coach, where 1 or 2 sessions of intense going in there, crying, releasing has made a huge impact on my client's life. That is true. But it's usually going to be a process. It's going to be a journey. And the really big paradox of inner work is, one of my mentors told me this, and this is really life-changing. The biggest paradox of inner work is the slower you go, the faster you heal. You heard me right. The slower you go, the faster you heal. The faster you try to go just because you want to get it over it, that may be the ego again saying, yes, we've got it covered. We deleted it. Yes, we can move on. Because it doesn't want to go in there. It's painful to go in there depending on what we have in there. And sometimes it may not be painful. It may just be ugly, right? Like the things that we have done to other people, the things that other people have done to us. It's hard to face sometimes, but we must face it. We must face it. We must take personal responsibilities, and that's how you can move on, okay? So how do you know your inner work is working? Outside, Tony Robbins says success leaves clues, and I've modified that to inner work leaves clues. So if you do your money inner work, then your money situation changes. If you do your relationship inner work, then your relationship situation changes. If you do your health inner work, then your health situation changes. So you see how it works? You want to do the different layers of inner work. I first recommend that everyone start with the basic, like your inner state. And the 2 places I recommend that you start as far as my programs is the High Value Worthy Woman program, and then after that you have to do the Sacred Feminine Intensive. If I only had one program for the rest of my life, if I only could choose one out of my over 30 offerings, it would be the Sacred Feminine, because not that all my programs are really life-changing, and this is the feedback that I've gotten from my students and thousands of clients and you guys, right? But that one, it really takes you through that entire 3-month journey of really going deep in there, learning the science and the information. I give you that, but then also knowing what to do, how to release the stuff. And once you can start doing that, then maybe you just need to get a couple of sessions here and there with a mentor, a coach, a therapist, a counselor to release out the rest if you have any blind spots, and you will be good to go, because you will have the tools for the rest of your life to be able to continue doing your inner work. Inner work is so amazing because your life transforms in such a way that it's really addictive too, in a good way, because you realize, okay, now I fixed these 8 things. I still have this thing that's showing up a little bit wonky in my relationship or in my whatever, okay, all I need to do is go back in there and do another layer on this. That's why you got to work in layers. That's what I do, work in layers so that you can keep going at it. And at the end of the day, I believe we're here on this planet to expand and grow and learn. And there's no point in staying stuck in the past or carrying up any of that. Like, imagine if someone put a backpack on you when you were 5 years old and now you're 40 and you're still carrying that heavy backpack. Take it off, right? Take it off and wear something new that you want to wear, that is more fitting into your current lifestyle or where you're trying to go. So remember that all of my programs are on a huge flash sale right now for back to school. I believe back to school is such a great, fall's coming up. Like, it's a great time to start thinking about personal development, take on something new. I shared in my last video for you guys that I'm working on a second layer of my voice inner work. So that's been really, really fun. I'm listing some of my programs in the description box, as well as my website and a couple of my previous videos, so you can check them out. Thank you so much. I've been really enjoying connecting with you. I know the social distancing has been really difficult and I miss girl time, and that's why I'm making more content here and on my shopping channel so that I can feel like I've got my girlfriends again. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe if you're new here, hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss any videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.